One of the things that you did have during this period was you had very clever strategizing by the wealthy and by intellectuals employed by the wealthy. And a major problem they had was appealing to the public. They found that the public was not interested in deregulation or tax rates that favored the rich. They were against that, and they were very frustrated by the fact that they couldn't sell those things to the public. But they also were very flexible, and they said this very openly in private. They said it openly. That what we need to do is come up with a distraction issue, and cultural issues are great distraction issues. And you have someone named Paul Weyrich, who was employed by wealthy people through the Heritage Foundation, and was a very clever strategist, a brilliant strategist, really. He said very openly, we tried the idea of selling deregulation and regressive taxation, and the public wasn't buying it. So instead, what we need to do, we need to focus on things like religion and morality. And so they poured money into evangelical churches during the 1970s and tried to shift the discussion away from economics, because they knew they would lose on economics, and instead focus on things like morality, things like long hair on males, sex in movies, nudity, homosexuality, abortion rights. These are called the wedge issues, and a large number of Americans during the 1970s were reacting negatively to the cultural changes of the 60s. And so people like Paul Weyrich had the brilliant idea, not only funding these people up, but also linking them up with groups that wanted free market economics, building a coalition. It was called fusionism, a broad coalition of cultural conservatives interested in things like quote-unquote morality issues, opposing the cultural changes of the 1960s on the one hand, and business conservatives who wanted a concentration of wealth among the rich. And they really were kind of as a marriage of convenience, you might say, but it was a marriage that worked because it enabled the wealthy interests that were funding this whole project to massively increase their base of support. They now had a mass base. That was huge. And it enabled them basically to win political battles and ultimately achieve what they wanted, which is really concentration of wealth.